Have you ever reached a moment where you felt like you had nothing left to fight for? Not because you didn't pray, not because you didn't believe, but because life kept knocking you down until you couldn't recognize the person staring back at you in the mirror. If you've ever felt that way, I want you to stay with me until the end of this testimony. What I'm about to share isn't just a story. It's proof that God can still step into your darkest hour and completely rewrite your future. Before we begin, let me know in the comments where you're watching from and if you've ever experienced a season where you almost gave up. Simply type, "God carried me." I would love to pray for you. Now let me tell you what happened. There was a time in my life when I honestly believed I had reached the end of my journey. On the outside, I smiled. I laughed when people expected me to laugh. I told everyone I was okay, but inside I was exhausted. Every morning I felt heavier than the other day before. I woke up wondering what new disappointment was waiting for me. It seemed as though every door I knocked on remained closed. Every opportunity disappeared just when I thought things were finally changing. Have you ever prayed with everything inside you, only to feel like heaven had gone silent? That was where I found myself. I wasn't angry with God. I was simply tired. Tired of waiting, tired of hoping, tired of believing that tomorrow would somehow be different. I remember sitting alone one evening after another difficult day. The room was quiet, but my mind wasn't. Questions raced through my head. God, where are you? Did I do something wrong? Why does it seem like everyone else is moving forward while I'm still standing still? Those questions stayed with me for weeks. I watched friends celebrate milestones I had been praying for. People around me were getting jobs, getting married, getting businesses, starting and building businesses, building beautiful lives. I smiled for them because I genuinely wanted them to be happy. But when I got home, I cried. Not because I was jealous, but because I wondered if my turn would ever come. Maybe you've been there too. You celebrated others while secretly asking God when your own testimony will arrive. If that's you, don't stop watching. God isn't finished writing your story. Looking back now, I realized something important. Sometimes God allows us to reach the end of ourselves so we finally discover that He is enough. At that time, though, I couldn't see it. All I could see were bills that needed to be paid, dreams that refused to come alive, prayers that seemed unanswered. Every day became a battle just to keep believing. Prayers that seemed unanswered. Then something happened that almost broke me completely. A door I had prayed about for months suddenly happened. I thanked God with tears in my eyes. This is it, I thought. This is the breakthrough I've been waiting for. I started making plans. I imagined how life would finally change. For the first time in a long while, hope returned. But only a few days later, everything fell apart. The opportunity disappeared as quickly as it had come. One phone call changed everything. One conversation. One decision that wasn't even mine. Just like that, the future I had imagined vanished. I remember putting my phone down and staring at the wall for what felt like hours. I didn't cry immediately. Sometimes pain is so deep, the tears don't come. There's only silence. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying everything in my mind. What did I miss? Why would God let me get so close only for everything to disappear? Those questions haunted me. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months. My prayers became shorter, not because I stopped believing, because I didn't know what else to say. I repeated the same prayer so many times that I wondered whether God was tired of hearing my voice. One afternoon, I decided to take a walk. I wasn't looking for answers, I just wanted to clear my mind. As I walked, I noticed something I had never paid attention to before. There was a tiny plant growing through a crack in the concrete. Thinking about that for a moment, concrete is hard, cold, unforgiving. Yet somehow, that little plant had found enough strength to push through. I stopped and stared at it. It was as if God whispered into my heart, "If I can bring life through concrete, don't you think I can bring hope into your situation?" I stood there with tears filling my eyes. Nothing around me had changed. My circumstances were exactly the same, but something inside me shifted. For the first time in months, I felt a small spark of hope. Not because I had answers, but because I remembered who God is. The God who parted seas, the God who raised the broken, the God who never abandoned his children. That evening, I opened my Bible, not because I felt spiritual, but because I had nowhere else to turn. My eyes fell on words I had read many times before. "Be still and know that I am God." I had always interpreted "be still" as doing nothing. But that night, it meant something different. It meant trusting God even when life didn't make sense. It meant believing that His silence wasn't His absence. It meant understanding that waiting wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Little did I know that God was already arranging people, opportunities, and miracles I couldn't yet see. Behind every closed door, He was building a better one. Behind every delay, He was protecting me from something I didn't understand. But I was still standing in the middle of the storm, unable to see what was happening behind the scene. And then everything changed in a way I never expected. The phone rang. At first, I almost ignored it. I had become so used to disappointing news that I didn't expect anything different. But that single phone call would become the beginning of the greatest testimony of my life. I stared at the screen for a few seconds before answering. To be honest, I wasn't expecting good news. After so many disappointments, I had learned to protect my heart from getting excited too quickly. "Hello," I said quietly. The voice on the other end introduced themselves, and within the first few moments of the conversation, I realized this wasn't an ordinary call. They had heard about me through someone I had completely forgotten I had helped months earlier. That surprised me. Months before, I had gone out of my way to encourage someone who was struggling. I didn't have money to give them. I couldn't solve all their problems, but I listened, prayed with them, and reminded them that God hadn't forgotten them. I never expected anything in return. In fact, after that conversation, life became even harder for me. I often wondered if anything I did even mattered. But now I was discovering something powerful. God never wasted an act of kindness. The caller explained that an opportunity had become available, that my name had been recommended. They asked if I would be interested. For a moment, I couldn't speak. It sounded almost too good to be true. Part of me wanted to celebrate. Another part of me was afraid. What if this falls apart too? I thought. Fear has a strong way of stealing joy before blessings even arrive. Instead of celebrating, I found myself questioning everything. "Lord, is this really you?" That night, I knelt beside my bed, not to ask for success, not to ask for riches, but to ask for wisdom. "Father," I prayed, "if this door is from you, give me peace. If it isn't, close it. I don't want anything that isn't part of your will." For the first time in many months, I wanted to sleep with peace instead of anxiety. The next few weeks moved quickly. Meetings, interviews, paperwork. Every step felt different from the opportunities I had chased before. This time, I wasn't forcing doors to open. They seemed to open on their own. Looking back, I can now see what I couldn't see then. When God opens a door, you don't have to break it down. He goes before you. He prepares hearts. He arranges conversation. He moves people into places long before you even arrive. Slowly, my life began to change. Not overnight, not with fireworks, but one faithful step at a time. The financial pressure that had kept me awake at night started to ease. My confidence slowly returned. Most importantly, my relationship with God became stronger than it had ever been. I realized something that completely changed the way I looked at my past. The greatest miracle wasn't the opportunity. The greatest miracle was what God had done inside me while I was waiting. Before the storm, my faith depended on circumstances. If life was good, I praised God. If life became difficult, I questioned Him. But after everything I had been through, I learned to trust His character instead of my circumstances. That lesson has stayed with me ever since. One afternoon, I found myself driving past a place where I had once sat crying, convinced my future was over. I pulled over for a few moments. The memories came rushing back. I remembered the tears, the loneliness, the confusion, the nights when I thought God had forgotten my address. I smiled through tears because I finally understood something. God has been there every single moment, even when I couldn't feel Him. Even when heaven seemed silent, He never left. Silence is not the same as absence. Sometimes a teacher is silent during the test, but that doesn't mean the teacher has walked out of the classroom.